Hello and welcome to Pat O'Keefe's World of Curiosities. And tonight's guest is a very special person. He is one of the founders, I'm assuming, of the Las Vegas Soul Searchers. And his name is Michael Zervos. I hope I'm pronouncing that Zervos. Yes,
Zervos, yes, ma'am.
terrible. I am so terrible. Let me tell you, I took French for 4 years, and I think I drove my professor insane. Anyway, Michael Zervos, good to have you with us. Now,
Good to be here.
good to have you. Michael has served in the U.S. Marine Corps. He's been in corporate security, and his longest, what I call muggle job, was 18 years as a deputy for the Stanislaus County Sheriff's Department. 18 years. So thanks for your service.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
And one of the other things he's done, he's actually been an employee for Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum in Vegas. Tell us about your experience there.
Well, my main job, I was security, so I ran the lots and made sure people got checked in and make sure everything was square. But uh, I've been there. I've actually investigated it on flashlight tours for 3 times, and all 3 times I've had experiences inside the museum. And the one of them I can think of. I had my son with me, and when you're in there, the rooms are all dark. So we walked into this room and we had the spirit box going, and we were asking questions, and clear as day across the spirit box with an accent, you hear Gacy, just like that, Gacy. And I look at my son, I go, did that just say Gacy? And he turns on his flashlight and he goes, turn around, Dad. I turned around and my back was right in front of the John Wayne Gacy display.
Oh my
So
gosh.
that kind of freaked me out a little bit.
I have to ask, were you looking around to see if somebody was in the room?
Well, it was dark, and when they won't let you have any kind of cameras or anything in there. You can have uh, devices that don't record, so we didn't see anything. It was really dark, and that's why I didn't know where I was standing until you turned on the light and told me to turn around. So that was one of the experiences down by the Lugosi mirror in the basement. I was standing there, and we were with a group I was with, and something felt like it hit me in the chest, and I just kind of fell back into the wall. So,
Oh
and
my,
my son,
do
oh,
people, I was going
go
to
ahead.
say, do people often have experiences at the Bela Lugosi Mara?
Um, some I can tell you that a lot of people come out of their tours, um, feeling sick and nauseous, and have to come out and sit down and get air, and we provide them water and stuff. So it's pretty much the whole place. It's different areas, and people have different experiences in different areas. Like my son got scratched. He's got a tattoo of a cross tattooed on his back, and he felt burning, and we walked out and he lifted up his shirt and he had 3 faint scratches going right down the middle of the cross from the demon house.
Oh,
Yeah.
the Demon House, for those that haven't had the tour, it's still downstairs, right? Is that where it
It's
was
on
in the
no, it's on the first floor. The only thing
first floor?
downstairs is actually the basement. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
All
then
right.
and then you got some stuff upstairs, but it's down on the first floor.
It's funny how you remember things because I had a visit there a couple of years ago, and you said you might have been there, so we may have
Yeah.
missed each other like two ships in the night. But when I was there, it definitely has a vibe, and especially in certain areas of the building, there's an energy there that's really palatable because he has went across the U.S. and really, gathered up some fascinating artifacts, from the paranormal world.
Definitely. Definitely. It's very interesting, and I don't work there no more. I have no financial ties to it, but I recommend it to anybody that's interested to go. It's just the artifacts alone are very interesting.
Well, let me ask, you've got all of this, the Marine Corps, security. I forgot to mention you were a federal corrections officer for a while and a deputy. What is it, what do you think it is about those types of fields like EMT, nursing, doctors, cops that they seem to be drawn, many of them, to the paranormal. And I actually asked someone once, he was a trainer at the time in Ohio for the police. And I said, what is it about first responders, that are so drawn to the paranormal? Why is that? And he said, Pat, he said, we're the first people on the scene often, and we see things that people never see. And, part of that is like, there was a case not too long ago. A woman had ran off the road and she had her child with her. And when they got there, they couldn't find the vehicle. A wreck had been reported, but they couldn't find the vehicles. They knew it was there. And then started hearing the woman screaming, right? And they followed the voice. And when they got there, now these are the first responders, the woman was already dead, had been dead. And they really do think that she was trying to save the life of her child. So, do you think that have you had any experiences like that, or have you heard of any from your colleagues?
I personally, working in the jails and stuff, like he said, I've seen a lot of stuff that people don't want to see. Me personally, I think my experience with the paranormal comes from just my heightened sense of alertness, having to be in the jail. So you get your, for a lack of a better term, spidey senses going. So you always have that on when you're at work. At 12 hours a day, I'm locked up in these places. I'm even to this day, I don't like people behind me. I can feel people getting too close behind me. And
Yeah.
I think I think I like I said, I don't know. I'm very, very susceptible to emotions. I can feel emotions like I've sat in a chair before in the Silver Queen in Nevada, my friend Kelly's room, sitting in a chair just after smoking and joking. And all of a sudden I'm sitting there in a daze and I just start crying for no reason because a sense of sadness just overwhelmed me. And I've had those kind of experiences a lot of times. So I can't explain it. Some people say maybe you're an empath. I'm not sure what empath means. All I can say is I'm very sensitive to some emotions. And did it come from my job and my senses being in work and locked up? I don't know. It's a possibility.
Well, when you get to a certain level of being able to tap into the emotions, the mental state of a group of people, and even more than that, a true empath can tap into the world and if it's tilting towards war. I mean, they know all of these things really before it gets to that tipping point because they're so connected to it, and it's considered a gift, just like clairvoyance or clairaudience or something like that. It's a gift of being able to tap in to emotional energy, and it's a powerful gift, but it's one that often exhausts the person that has it. So, you may feel yourself at times picking up not only emotion, but starting to develop that emotion yourself. Like, if you are tapping into sorrow, say you're at a funeral, it may affect you on a level that it's not affecting someone else who may be there at the same time. So, just consider yourself gifted.
Oh, I don't know what it is, but I do feel a lot of emotions and I do feel things that some people don't feel or a lot of people don't feel when we're in these investigations. And I mean, that comes from like my very first investigation, which was at the Clown Motel here in Tonopah, Nevada. And that's the first time my first real investigation. And we had just got to the hotel room and we were just setting up. And just putting stuff down, reached in my pocket, found some trash in my pocket, and walked over to the other side of the room to throw the trash away. And then all of a sudden, when I got through the trash can, it just felt like I walked through some kind of energy. I got these chills going through my jaw, my hair on my arm stood up. And I turn around, look at my partner. I go, Paul, look, look. And this is my first real experience, so I don't understand what's going on. I go, look, uh, I just walked into something or something just happened to me. And so I felt it. And then when we did our investigation, the SLS camera was showing that mirror where I was by was appeared to be some kind of portal. People, but we had figures jumping in and out of that mirror the whole night. They'd bounce in and they'd bounce out. So I think my personal opinion is I caught something off guard, and it caught me off guard, and I smacked into it. And that was my very first experience, and that intrigued me, and that's why I continued with ghost hunting.
It's almost like having a high, isn't it?
Oh
Whenever
yeah,
something like
yeah. I remember my first EVP. I'm going, oh my god, because there's only two of us there, and we hear this voice like a whisper in the background. I was like, oh my god. So yeah, I'm not so excitable anymore, but yeah, when you first.
when you first get started, tell folks, because not everybody knows what the Clown Hotel is. So tell them what it is.
Okay, it's a clown based hotel here at Tonopah, about 4 hours from here in Vegas, and everything is clown themed. The rooms have clown portraits in it. Like the room I stayed in had a 8 foot tall Pennywise painted on the wall. You go into the lobby and people from all over the world send in clowns. The whole lobby is just clowns. And then there's an old cemetery right next to it. You can walk from the lobby to the cemetery like 10 feet. And people say it's very, very haunted. I've had a lot of activity there every time I go, and I do stay the night there. I've been there 3 times, and I've stayed the night all 3 times. So it's a haunted clown hotel.
So those of you who have a true phobia of clowns, never book here unless you
Don't
really
book here.
want to have an experience.
See, clowns don't bother me, but some people, yeah, that if you got a clown phobia, don't go there. It's nothing but clowns.
That's Zia is saying very spooky, and that is true, is it not?
If you don't like clowns, it can be, yes.
Oh, I love this. Living for the Dead had a ghost. That's the only way I've known about it. Yeah, they did, Dina. And I actually watched a documentary on it not too long ago. And what I loved about it was the history that's there. And it's not just a cemetery. If you walk through that cemetery, it's the history of this little town, which is always fascinating. I love graveyards because if you want to see the history of somewhere, just go through a graveyard. If you see a lot of people dying within the same month or same several months, there's probably typhoid or something like that is taken out the citizenry. But anyway, fascinating. Oh, we've got Shining Star, and she's saying, Mystic, and she's saying, I will never go. I'd say you're one of those folks that might not like clowns shining. I have to admit, I probably would if I'm out that way again. But anyway, so here you are. You've gotten your first taste. Now you've been to so many different places. I was looking over your resume. Very famous and prestigious places that you have been. Which one had the biggest impact on you?
It's not famous, but the biggest impact on me and the scariest impact on me was the Jamestown Hotel in Jamestown, California. I went there and it was a 2-day investigation. I think there's only 8 rooms there, and the group I was with rented out all 8 rooms. So we had the whole place to ourselves all night. And the first night I was weird things happened to me, but nothing extraordinary. Like I was sitting in a chair having a conversation, and it felt like somebody took a finger and just twisted it right between my ribs, and I doubled over in pain. I'm going, wow, what is this? And then there's a bear that was sitting on the edge of the bed for like 2 hours, and I'm sitting here in another chair, and I can have a straight shot to the bed. I'm talking to my younger son. He was with us, and just out of the blue, after sitting there for 2 hours, the bear just slowly fell over. Just right there on the bed, and I'm going, oh my God. And then we were in that room where the bear fell over, and there was a REM pod sitting on a duffel bag on the dresser, and I had my Ovilus going, and my son bumped into the dresser. The REM pod fell. He caught it and set it back up. The only word that came across the Ovilus was dropped. Well, yeah. So,
That
and go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was going to say that had definite meaning at that moment, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. And then later on that night, I was down in the basement with a group, and this place was back in the day, I guess, was a hospital. And unbeknownst to me at the time that it was a hospital, the basement was a morgue. So we were down there, and we really didn't get anything, and nothing really happened. And so, long story short, the next night I decided to go down there by myself. And I'm walking down there, and there's a far corner where you can go behind the reefer down there, the big walk-in refrigerator. And I started walking back there, and you got to understand, it's pitch dark down there, and there's no light. And something stopped me in my tracks. I don't know if it it wasn't a voice, it wasn't anything. All I was hearing was "Don't go back there," or feeling "Don't go back there." And because I'm still new and stuff, and I don't listen to crap, I went back there. And then that's the last thing I remember. And then next thing I know, I'm upstairs. You go up the stairs, you turn left, and you turn left, and you're in the dining bar area of this hotel. Next thing I know is I'm snapping out of it, looking around the room, trying to figure out where I am. And then finally, I kind of hear my buddy Paul saying, Mike, are you back? Are you back? And then that's when I realized, like something was going on. And I turned around and I said, what the F just happened? And the video is on my YouTube and my TikTok. So anybody interested in actually seeing the video, you can go there and watch. It's very scary for me to even watch it today. And then what's weird is I was going through some of my old SD cards just 2 weeks ago, and I found a little segment from when I was down in the basement the first night, and I was telling these guys, I feel something back there. I feel something back there. And then on my Ovilus popped up demon or devil. And this didn't even dawn on me until 2 weeks ago. And this experience was almost 3 years ago. And then so long story short, Ghost Adventures got a hold of the video because the person who actually recorded it put it on their TikTok. It got 300,000 views. The producers called me and asked me if I'd be interested. Of course, I'm going to be interested. That's it. Of course, I'm going to be interested. And it took them 2 years to finally get there. But when they got there, they called me and asked me if I still go. And I did. And as soon as I walked in the door, the place was starting to affect me again. And Zach saw it. And I can't really talk about what happened in the show and anything because the show hasn't aired yet. But the new season starts on the 16th, and this episode will air. So I'll let you wait and watch it.
All right, and let me just mention this. This particular photograph is from Expedia. I have a beautiful inside shot. Now this really looks like the Bob, does it not? It's kind of dark. It's got that old-fashioned kind of yellow glow from the old what was it? Fluorescent type. I can't remember what kind of bulbs they had, but it always had that old-fashioned glow. And then the wallpaper, it just looks very dated, and you can just kind of feel the energy from this photograph. And this photograph, giving credit, is Cabby Travel Blog is where it came from. And then this one you'll recognize.
Yep, that was the night I was there with the Ghost Adventures.
That's right. So definitely catch this show. I think it's going to be fascinating, and he's going to be sharing his experiences there, and we'll be able to hear it in depth from the show. So now, that's the one that had the biggest impact. But which one would you recommend to a newbie? Somebody just wanting to go, maybe not have too much coming at them at once, but would be a good investigation for them.
Honestly, the Clown Motel. It's pretty low key. It's pretty easy accessibly, and there's a lot of activity, but not overwhelming activity.
Wonderful. Well, let me tell you, we've gotten a couple comments. Jason Lundy said, looks cool. So I have a feeling that if Jason is out that way, he'll probably check it out. We've got Dina. I'm not sure what an ovilus is. So could you explain what an ovilus is?
An omulus is a device that has a word bank in it, and it's designed for the spirits to use to shoot out words. So it's an audible. So like when I said the ovulus said dropped, it was it printed out. It said it showed on the screen, and it said, and it's an audible. So it also says the word, and it's designed uh, for the spirits because it's electric magnetic, and it's designed for the spirits to pull words out and display them for you, and you can hear them.
And just speaking from somebody who's been in on investigations with this, it can really rock your world. Like I watched one time an investigation, and you actually heard a gunshot, and that's exactly how the person was murdered in that room, which was fascinating to witness. We've got a couple other comments. Zia says she's gonna watch your show when it comes out, so she'll
I
be looking
appreciate
for it.
it.
Yeah, and then she also says, "That looks haunted for sure." She's talking about the indoor. Yes, and Zia is another psychic, so she gets those little feelings like you were talking about. So she's feeling the energy there. Let's
Yeah,
see.
yeah. When you had the
And
pictures up, I was getting nervous and anxious. I did. I honestly didn't like looking at
like
them.
PTSD.
Yes.
No, we got here. Oh, thank you, Dina, for that. Oh, thank you so much for the clarification. So you did such a wonderful job with that. And then we've got Jason. Was he using the device or his phone? Just curious. So were you you were using the Ovilus, right? The
The
actual
Ovilus
Ovilus?
5, yes, actual
Yeah.
device. I do not like phone apps. I don't think they're accurate.
Okay.
Anything a third party has access to, I'm not a fan of.
All right. All right. Although there are some people that swear by them too, you know.
Oh, it's
Um,
personal, but yeah, me personally, I don't deal with the phone apps.
No, what advice would you give to a newbie, somebody that say their first investigation was going to be somewhere like the Clown Hotel, and they don't have a lot of equipment? You know what I'm saying? Like the longer you are in this field, you know this. You start out with one tool, you end up with cases. I've literally seen cases come in at places. So
Yeah, I've got 4 or 5 cases right here.
I knew it. I knew it. You got to have the toys.
Yeah.
But what's your recommendation?
I started out with, and I recommend anybody just starting out with, always get a K2, which is very, very reasonably priced. It's a device that detects electromagnetic fields, which is what the spirits protrude. Also, maybe a REM pod of some sort, which is also pick up energy, and a digital voice recorder. Those are the 3 main things that I would recommend in any ghost hunting, and for anybody just starting out. And you can have a perfect ghost hunt with just those 3 devices alone. Evidence.
Now, there are people that love the hard data type of evidence, like they take meticulous notes about K2s whenever they went off or this, that, and other. I will tell you, this is back in the day, and this is what I grew up with reading about Dr. Hans Holzer. And he said the 3 things that you needed. Now, it's back in the day. We didn't have ovuluses, REM pods. We didn't have lasers, none of that. He said the 3 things to take were a camera, a audio recorder, and a trance medium. And he would travel the world, and he would take often a woman from England. Her name was Sybil Leek, and she was a very famous psychic medium and witch. And he would never tell them, whoever he was using, where they were going. That was key. And I think that's so important when you're doing research with a psychic medium. Never let anybody know where you're going, because otherwise the temptation, or if they're fake, they're going to go running to now it would be Google, back in the day, it would be books to try to find something out about the location. So I think that's a wise thing. But you're right. I think that's perfect information. In fact, you know, you do need three things, and those are the primary ones. I think, and I'm going to ask you a question real quick, and then we've got a question from Zia that's going to, you know, wrap our show up. But do you think that this whole idea of AI, like being able to just talk and into, you know, to your computer or to your phone or any other device and say, you know, show me a haunted house and put a ghost in the window. And it does it so realistically, it's unbelievable. Do you think that's going to hurt investigators trying to prove you know, ethereal, uh, you know, validity or that ghosts exist?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of AI. I mean, you could just see it on social media now, the AI videos out there, and you can tell they're obviously AI, but you can see people who comment who believe they are actual videos. So in that case, yes, people are going to start faking stuff and they're going to start doing stuff that's just going to take away from the whole ghost hunting experience. And because people who are interested in it are just starting out, they're going to think that's the expectation and that they're going to be expecting to have this when they're out there. And honestly, ghost hunting is like fishing. You can sit there all day and not get anything. You got to be patient, and you've got to know what you're doing by questions and trying to interact with them. But there's times that I haven't got anything. So it's not always a guarantee. It's sometimes. So patience is a virtue in
Is
ghost hunting.
Well, I was going to say, and you've got all of that experience. You say, you know, it's like being a cop. It's like waiting for days, and then one thing happens, you know,
Yep,
and then the excitement and all of the energy explodes. Um,
exactly.
I've got a couple of comments, and then we're going to wrap up with Zia's question. Okay, we've got Jason. I think this is funny. Yes, Jason. Jason, I know Jason Lundy. He's an amazing person. I actually got the privilege of investigating with him at it was West Virginia State Penitentiary, I believe. We were
Okay.
down the Sugar Shack, and he actually had something grab his ankle. I remember that clearly. Anyway, he said, I used to carry a lot of gear. Now I carry a pen, paper, flashlight. Yes, Jason, we're all getting older. It's like me as a photographer. I used to drag everything with me. Now I try to take as little as I can with me. And we've got Dina, yes, Sybil Lee. Yes, she was one of the first. In fact, she may have been the first witch out of the broom closet when they overturned, I believe, in 1951, the Witchcraft Act in England. So it's wonderful that some of us remember this woman, and the fact that remember she had a jackdaw, which is like a blackbird that would ride on her shoulder around town. And here is his questions. Let me make sure I haven't missed anybody. And here we go. You might have already said this, but what would you say is the wildest thing you have seen? Like, have you seen a full body spirit?
When I investigated the Goldfield Hotel with Nick Groff, actually saw a shadow figure. Looked like he poked his head around the corner and was looking at us down the hallway. And then as soon as everybody turned and somebody said something, you see the shadow shoot right back into the room. So yes, I've seen shadow figures.
All right. Now, let me ask, how can people, you know, especially local people in the Las Vegas area, if they have, say, a private residence where you've had some trouble, or they've had some trouble and they want somebody to come in, how do they get in touch with you?
I have I don't know if you can see this, but this is all my information right here on this card. So if you need to get a hold of me for anything, and I do individual residents, right there, all the information is here. So I got TikTok, I got my cell phones on here, my Facebook's on here. So
And
that's
let
what
me and let me go. Do you see the? Let's see. Well, it popped up, but it's not coming on, unfortunately. I had your Facebook. Well, you win some and you lose some in technology. So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, they are on Facebook, and it's Las Vegas Soul Searchers. So, look them up. And, I've had such a pleasant time. Thank you for your wisdom and your knowledge and sharing your adventures as a paranormal investigator.
I appreciate being here, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to be here and talk about it.
We got a compliment from Jason. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. And with that, we're going to wrap up. Thank you for being with us tonight. We appreciate your company, because without that, it's a very lonely place. And so until next time, stay curious.